Apple's now skipping versions. iOS 13.2.2 is available for download, but you shouldn't update to it. And hacker Luca Tedesco and the Checkra1n team are preparing to release the first iOS 13 jailbreak. Hey, what's up YouTube? It's ICU, and in today's video we're going to be discussing all of that and more, but this one's going to be more condensed and faster than usual, so definitely check down below in the description if you're not fully caught up with what's going on the jailbreak scene right now. That will get you up to speed. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about iOS 13.2.2 as an update first and how it impacts jailbreaking, and then we're going to transition into the Checkra1n information. So you can see right here that for the general synopsis it says iOS 13.2.2 includes bug fixes and improvements for your iPhone. When we tap on learn more, really the first three are the important ones here. It says, quote, fixes an issue that could cause apps to quit unexpectedly when running in the background, resolves an issue where iPhone may temporarily lose cellular service after a call, and addresses an issue where cellular data may temporarily not be available. So this is a pretty big bug fix update, so to speak. iOS 13.2 was released recently to bring a number of new features to the table, including the cornerstone Deep Fusion mode for the iPhone 11 series, as well as AirPods Pro support and so much more, but it did break those things and introduce new complications where multitasking is concerned. So 13.2.2 seems like a great update, right? Well, I recommend to not update, even if you're on iOS 13.2, and we're going to talk about that. So really it depends on which device you have. If you have an iPhone 10 or older, you're going to be able to jailbreak on iOS 13.2.2. However, if you have an iPhone XS or XR or newer up to the iPhone 11 series, so anything powered by an A12 or A13 CPU, you're not going to be able to jailbreak iOS 13.2.2 anytime soon. The first jailbreak for you will most likely be targeting iOS 13.1.3 or lower. So let's talk about that for iPhone 10 users for just a second. So iOS 13.2.2 again will be jailbreakable via Checkra1n because it does use that low-level boot ROM exploit. You'll be able to jailbreak any firmware Apple releases basically. But if you're on iOS 13.1.3 or lower, like A12 and A13 users, you would actually be able to get a semi-untethered jailbreak, which means that you would not need to plug your device into a computer and rerun a portion of the jailbreak utility to get it to boot tethered to run your jailbreak stuff, so to speak. You could just launch an application, repatch the kernel, and essentially be able to use your jailbreak stuff that way. So even though you can jailbreak 13.2.2, the best firmware for you to be on is still iOS 13.1.3 or lower. And as for A12 and A13, so anything from the iPhone 10 up to the iPhone 11 series, you won't be able to jailbreak 13.2.2 or 13.2 anytime soon, simply because iOS 13.2 closed a very key kernel vulnerability that existed in 13.1.3 and older that could lead to a brand new jailbreak, and developers have already expressed interest in creating tools around that. So there seems like there's going to be a jailbreak coming for all devices, including the newer ones, on 13.1.3 and lower. And unfortunately, the new devices, again, will not be supported by Checkra1n. I actually made a tutorial talking about how you should downgrade from 13.2 back to 13.1.3, and I made a number of videos around the topic as well. But unfortunately, as of last night, Apple has stopped signing iOS 13.1.3, effectively making downgrades impossible. Once Apple stops signing a firmware, you just can't go back unless you have blobs for an older device, but that's a completely separate subject. Again, you cannot go back to iOS 13.1.3. So if you missed that window, that really sucks, and I'm definitely sorry, but just be sure to click that subscribe button and ding that notification bell. That way, the next time a situation like this presents itself, you're not going to miss out, because I do keep you guys updated and let you know everything that goes on in the world of jailbreaking. And for those of you who are on iOS 13.1.3 or lower, I want you guys to install the tvOS beta profile. And here's why. When we go inside of settings, general software update, you'll notice that unlike the 11 Pro Max right here, the XS Max inside the exact same section of the settings app shows this message: iOS 13.1.3, your software is up to date, and it's not going to accidentally update you to iOS 13.2.2 or higher if you're watching this video at a later date, because essentially you're breaking Apple's OTA update system. And the way you do that is by installing the tvOS beta profile on iOS. And it's very simple. All you guys have to do is visit my downgrade tutorial, which will be linked down below in the description of this video, and scroll all the way to the bottom until you see the big tvOS button. Tap it, and then you'll be redirected. Once the links are gathered, you'll be redirected again, and I want you to tap where it says tap here. Then on this final site, you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom for tvOS 12, and you're going to tap the blue download button followed by download anyways, and then you're going to tap on the prompts as you see them. Tap on allow, and then go inside of your settings application, tap on install, input your device's passcode, and tap on install again. Now I want you guys to just reboot on iPhone 10 style devices, so 10 and up, volume down, press and hold the side button, and then slide to power off. Once your device does restart, then inside of settings, general software update, you'll notice that it fails to pick up the latest version of iOS. And finally, if you are on iOS 13.2, I still do not recommend updating to iOS 13.2.2, even though it does correct those bugs we just talked about, for the sole reason that new kernel vulnerabilities could have still been patched in iOS 13.2.2. It doesn't look like they are, but if they are, I will release a subsequent video letting you guys know. Still, the best bet is to always be on as low of a firmware as you possibly can. And with that said, I wanted to talk about Checkra1n now. So Checkra1n is the jailbreak that's going to be released very soon. It's the first one that's going to come for iOS 13, and it will jailbreak essentially every single version of iOS 13 for those supported devices, iPhone 10 and older. Recently, hacker Luca Tedesco, the primary developer behind the Checkra1n team, tweeted out, quote, "Can the owner of the Checkra1n GitHub please stand up? We'd like to use the username for an issue tracker." So it looks like he's preparing for release. Remember, the initial release ETA or window was between the 7th and 8th. He's currently in South Korea right now, and he's slated to give a talk at 1500 hours local time, which would essentially be like 10 p.m. today Pacific time, or 1 a.m. tomorrow, the 8th of November Eastern time. And it's unclear exactly when he's planning on releasing Checkra1n, but it looks like they are prepping for a release literally at any time. So be sure to ding that notification bell if you have yet to. Again, I'm going to keep you guys fully notified the very second a jailbreak is dropped. You guys are going to know. And also be sure to bookmark our jailbreak status checker page, which will contain download links the very second it's out. And it will also change from this red no to a green yes. So it's just a very quick way for you guys to check on your own whether or not a jailbreak has been released. Again, that'll be the first link below. Remember that even if this ETA timeframe passes us by and we don't have a public version of Checkra1n, that doesn't mean the tool is not coming. It just means that it was delayed for any number of reasons. These things are very complicated and take a lot of time to get right. Trust me, you guys want them to take their time with Checkra1n. You don't want to end up with a brick for a device. And yeah, guys, I'm super excited. Hope you are too. Let me know down below in the comment section what you're most looking forward to. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.